Hi there, it's Lunch for the Soul. I am Melissa Wilson with Fox 26 Morning News, also the medical reporter for Fox 26. And do I ever have a beautiful soul to introduce you to today? We're going to get right to it. Meet Diana. Hi, Diana. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Melissa?
Oh, so good. I was so blessed to meet you recently at the Junior League because you were at a huge fundraiser, Houstonians coming out in style for a little Christmas party and to raise money for St. Jude because they really helped you a lot. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to start with your journey from the very beginning. Let's talk about what happened to you back in 2014. What was going on?
Well, I was just living life like a normal 13-year-old, going to school and, living my life. And one day I just had abdominal pain really bad, and we went to the doctor, to the emergency room, and it turned out that, well, at first they were like, "Oh yeah, it's just your appendix. We'll take it out. You'll be good to go. You go home today." And when they did my blood work for surgery, they realized something else was wrong, and it was really, really wrong. They realized with more testing that I had leukemia, and I went into the ER for surgery and ended up being admitted because my blood work was so crazy. They couldn't understand how I was still alive in that moment. And, it's from there, it was just craziness all around.
That is dramatic. And then you were diagnosed with not one, but two forms of leukemia, ALL and AML. And in
Yeah.
Honduras at that time, we're talking almost 10 years ago, the treatment wasn't there. So what happened at that
Yeah.
point?
Well, my doctors, they realized the severity of my case. They actually told me that with the type of cancer I had, I only had 2 weeks to live. And they contacted St. Jude, and St. Jude said, no, she doesn't. And 10 days later, I was in Memphis getting my first chemo. And that was still nearly 10 years ago.
I, I wish you could see. I literally have goosebumps, and you've told me this the day that I got to meet you
Yeah.
recently. It's just remarkable to think about being able to move. I mean, just uproot the entire family out of nowhere from Honduras to Memphis. And I picture that
Yeah.
you didn't speak English at the time either, did you?
No, I
So
didn't.
you're in a foreign country, not knowing if you're going to survive. You're just a young teen. I mean, how much do you remember of that journey? And what were you thinking at the time when you came to America?
Well, it was pretty much a blur. It was so much going on.
Mhm,
And I remember, at first it was my mom and I who traveled because it was so fast.
mhm.
At first it was just my mom and I, and then later my dad and my sister joined us. And one day I'm in school. 10 days later, I'm in a, like you said, in a foreign country that I don't speak the language of, and I'm getting bombarded by medical information from translators, doctors, and all of this, and it was very overwhelming. And uh, Thankfully, St. Jude not only focused on the treatment, they also focus on the patient as a whole.
Mhm, mhm.
And the school program helped me with the English, and it helped me to stay in school as well. And I was completely overwhelmed of my friends, everything being left behind, and it was just a lot, a lot going on.
It's so much to take.
Yes.
And then just over time, I guess you learned the language, but just as almost survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah, I did with the school program about a year of English, and then I
Mhm.
started with my regular school. And I guess I was really motivated because I would go in for appointments, and I would not really understand everything that was being said to me, and having translators being brought in, and that was the only way that I could understand what was happening to my own body.
Mm.
So I guess I was really motivated to, find out and learn the language, as well as, friends, and besides everything that was going on, St. Jude made so many efforts to make sure that we were okay, mentally And, everyone in St. Jude they're just angels, and everyone makes sure that regardless of the horrible situation that we're in, that
Yeah.
we can still enjoy ourselves and be happy and
Well,
not
and
just, yeah.
it's so important. I was so touched. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was so touched when you said to me that it felt like heaven on earth. And I picture you being this child, this young teen, going through all these different type of chemotherapies. They're doing everything they could to save your life. I know you felt terrible. You had some really big scares along the way, and you still
Yeah.
call it heaven on earth. They saved your life, and they were so loving and kind to you and your family. It's just so neat to see. Let's talk about what happened when your body rejected some of the medications. It happens, yeah, all the time to kids, but it was pretty brutal
Yeah.
for you. And so your parents were told in the beginning of your diagnosis that you only had a few weeks to live, and then they were told maybe only a day to live. Tell me about what happened at that point later on in your treatment, and remind us how far into your treatment this happened.
So there were 2 occasions where where something like that happened. A few months into treatment, one of the chemos gave me an allergic reaction basically, and I got meningitis from it, and basically a part of my brain swelled, and the part that was swelled was pressing against my skull, and that caused me to be paralyzed from the neck down for 3 days. And they had a medication that could reverse the paralysis, but they didn't know if it would work, and if it did, how long it would take for the paralysis to be reverted, if I could ever walk again, if the paralysis would keep progressing to the point where it would paralyze my lungs and I would have to be placed in a coma and basically be a vegetable survived by machines,
Mhm.
and or if I would ever walk again if the paralysis was reverted. Thankfully it was. 3 days later I started to gain movement, but still they told us be prepared for the worst because this could, go back to normal in a few months, or she could die today. And it took months for physical therapy and all of that, but I made a full recovery. And then after I relapsed, because after I finished my first treatment, I was cancer free for 8 months, but then I relapsed and the cancer was stronger. So
Mhm.
I needed a bone marrow transplant. When I had my bone marrow transplant, my body tried to reject it, which is completely normal. But it got to the point where all of my organs were failing. I had fluid in my lungs, so I was essentially drowning in my own blood. I had fluid surrounding my heart, and all of my organs were failing. And it got to the point where I was in the intensive care unit for about 2 weeks, and they told my parents one day, say your goodbyes and prepare for the worst because if she makes it through the night it's going to be a miracle. So
The third time that they are told that,
yeah.
how do you feel like I'm a parent, and my child, as I told you, my son went through leukemia treatment, and we had,
Yes.
I guess we had two big scares like that where we weren't
Mhm.
sure if he was going to make it, but we certainly counted on prayer and prayer from all around us to get through. We couldn't have survived it without it. How did your family get through the worst thing a parent can ever be told?
um we leaned on each other and we leaned in God. We've always been religious, and we love God, and we've leaned in each other and in him, and through all of the support as well that St. Jude gave us, and continues to give us, is just, yeah.
It's so nice to hear you be able to say that. I think it's so important for people to realize when they're in their darkest hour, maybe they don't understand what faith is, or believing that there's something bigger than us out there. But if they hear conversations like this, my hope is that they will dig a little deeper and do a little research, right? And that
Mhm.
they will get that. Let's talk about what you're doing today. So you've come a long way, baby. You live in Houston
Yes,
now.
I
And
do.
so, tell us what you're doing now.
Well, I'm a college student. I'm in my junior year, and I'm a communications major, actually. So, yeah, and actually this summer I did an internship with St. Jude, LSAC, which is the fundraising organization for an awareness organization for St. Jude. And, just going back to help the place that saved my life and continue to support and the work that they're doing and help other kids who are in the same situation as I once was is just amazing. So yeah,
Wow,
um,
it is so
yeah.
neat that you're going to go full circle. So the interesting thing about St. Jude that I think a lot of people don't even understand is that the actual physical hospital, there's one, because I think a lot of people think they're in their community because they hear about these fundraisers. It's in Memphis, Tennessee, right?
Yes.
But they do fundraisers all over the country because on a regular basis, let's say that there's children here in the Houston area who don't have insurance, they can't pay for it, they can go there and get treatment for free. So we have fundraisers all over the greater Houston area now to raise money for
Mhm.
St. Jude because it very well likely help a child right here in the Houston area, right?
Yeah. And, I know of friends of mine who, were in Memphis for the initial part of the treatment and, continue their
Mhm.
treatment from home. And part of something that St. Jude does is making sure, again, like, the patient is okay. And being stuck in a hospital room away from home, it's a lot, and they just wanna make sure that we're as comfortable as possible. And, yeah, just St. Jude is amazing, and I've been a patient at St. Jude's for nearly 10 years, and we had housing, food during my treatment, and not once have we received a bill for anything. It is, I wouldn't be alive without St. Jude.
That's a huge statement right there. You keep giving me goosebumps. I'm so thankful that they were able to spare your life multiple times
Yeah.
and keep you here today. You just have such a beautiful testimony to share. And I feel like
Thank you.
to give hope to kids who are going through treatment right now, are you ever
Mhm.
able to, I guess, mentor other, I don't know if that's the correct word, but just to show other cancer patients that what it looks like on the other side and that you can survive it?
Yeah, there's a lot of support, online support for
Mhm.
patients, and there's a big community of you know cancer patients, not just
Mhm.
St. Jude.
Mhm.
And being able to help someone is it's amazing. And
Yeah.
other patients helped me when I was in treatment, so anything that I can do for someone else is
Yeah. Well, and we see
yeah.
now your hair is so beautiful and thick. And when you're a patient and you lose your hair from chemotherapy and we see you here, you always wonder, well, what's it gonna is it gonna grow out and what's it going to look like? And I think for people to see you now who are going through this to have hope that you can get to the other side and it will be okay. Let's talk about some interesting things you got to do along the way. This looks like a camp picture.
Yes,
What's going on here?
it's actually a cancer camp.
Uh-huh.
To say it. It's a beautiful, organization that does, camps for, cancer patients,
Mhm.
and they have different ones for teenagers, young adults, families, and that was actually my first year at the teen cancer camp, and,
Nice.
we had so much fun. I did, the high ropes course, like the photo, we did horseback riding, I got to practice, archery. It was so much fun. We did a bunch of activities and, um, you know, met a lot of friends and yeah,
That's
it was amazing.
awesome. We see you, your younger self here, rocking your hat. You're so cute. And then you have to tell me, St. Jude, get take this next picture and send
Mhm.
it to you. So thank you, the photographer, for sharing this photo. You look like a glam queen.
Thank
So
you.
what was going on this day? It looks very special.
It was actually prom.
Ah,
So, St. Jude, holds a prom for, teenager patients. So from certain ages, you can go, and that was actually right after my transplant.
mm,
So, that was a couple months after, well, like 6 months after I was told that I wouldn't survive the
oh.
night in the ICU. So you can see that, you know, nothing stopped
You
me.
were ready, you were standing up tall and you're ready to say, "Oh, yes, I can
Yeah.
survive and I will," right? Look at
Yeah,
you.
that
I
was
love it.
actually my junior year in high school, I think? No, yeah.
Pretty
somewhere
flowers.
there. So, we got to enjoy ourselves, and
It sounds
which
very
is one of the
special.
things St. Jude does
Oh,
to
yeah.
lift our spirits, and it
Yeah, I
was
love
so
it.
much fun.
For anybody who's going through a tough time, it's Christmas time. Hopefully they're not, but we know that that's just not how life is, right? It's full of ups and
Yeah.
downs. What is your best advice for people just to push through and do whatever they can to get to the other side of whatever they're going through?
Um, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that regardless of what you're going through, it's look at the positive side. It's hard, believe me, I
Mhm,
know, and especially during the holidays. Actually, the day that we were told that I couldn't make it, it was around the Christmas holidays, and it's a lot, and just have faith, hold on to the good things, and a smile can go a long way, and just
mhm.
you know keep pushing through.
Yeah. Well, Diana, I'm going to be praying for you because I know all too
Thank
well
you.
that pediatric cancer patient doesn't end the day that you ring that bell and everybody thinks that it's over, but there are a lot of residual
Yeah,
side effects. I know you're dealing with some of those now. How
yeah.
do you push through that? Because I know that you would, in a perfect world, love for it to have all ended the day that you ended your treatment.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a lot of struggles. I mean, I still have about 7 or 20 medications that I still have to take, and it's not easy. And I've had a few surgeries in the last year, 2 years, and it's a lot. But
Mhm,
I'm looking at the positive side, and just I don't know, just take it one day at a time. Something
yeah.
that St. Jude has taught us is, just do one day at a time and enjoy the good things, push
Mhm.
through the hard ones, and you come out the other side. And
Oh,
yeah,
you're such a bright light to be able to share that and
thank
to
you.
to have a smile on your face, even though you have been through more in your life you're in college than most people will go through in
Mhm,
their entire lives. So you keep up that beautiful spirit of spreading the great word that there is life on the other side of cancer
mhm.
treatment and even with side effects. And I wish you only continued success. And I can't wait to see what job you land at St. Jude. You got to check back in with me
Thank
when you
you.
graduate from school
I
and let us
will.
know. Let us know what ends up happening with you.
I for sure will.
Well, you
Thank
undoubtedly
you.
have a bright future. Who knows? You're getting a communications degree. We might have to talk you into some broadcasting.
I would love to. So,
You're I'm
you
thinking
know,
you're an I think you're a natural. We could use an interpreter.
I would love to,
Oh,
yeah, just let me know.
well, take good care of yourself. I'm so
Yeah,
happy again to see
you
you
too.
again. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. Are
Merry
you staying?
Christmas.
What question? You'll stay here in the Houston area for Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
family coming in, so
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Well, you enjoy. Merry
yeah.
Christmas. Happy almost New Year.
Thank you. Same to
All
you.
right. Nice to see you,
Alright.
Diana. And just a reminder for you all, please join us every Wednesday right here for Lunch for the Soul. I meet and introduce you to some of the most amazing people in the greater Houston area. And then if you happen to have tuned in late today, you can always go to our Fox 26 YouTube page. And that is where you'll find all of my Lunch for the Souls, or you can even find this one in its entirety if you happen to have joined us late. Otherwise, if you want to be featured on Lunch for the Soul, you can always email me. Super easy to remember. It's my name separated by a dot. So melissa.wilson@fox.com. Shoot me an email. I'll see what I can do to reach out to you and get you on here. We'll put you on the schedule. Hope you have a beautiful week, a wonderful weekend. Stay dry out there. Be watching Fox 26. Keep that weather app near and have a very Merry Christmas. And we'll see you back here. I hope same time, same place. Take care.